If you are visiting Ireland for the very first time, this is the video for you. In this video, we are going to cover the most common questions we get asked, along with some unexpected tips and some things that people don't realize until they get here.
We are Mark and Asia. Mark is Irish, we are now based in Donegal, and for the past few years we've been creating travel guides all over Ireland.
And after all that traveling, we've collected a lot of useful pieces of information we wish more travelers knew before coming here.
So let's get into it. First things first, how to get to Ireland. Now, this might sound obvious, but there are actually a few ways to get to Ireland, and flying into Dublin isn't always the best option.
While Dublin Airport is the country's biggest airport, there are several other airports worth considering depending on where you're planning to visit. In the southwest, there's Kerry Airport. On the west coast, Shannon Airport has direct flights from the US and is conveniently located for places like the Cliffs of Moher. And in the northwest, Knock Airport offers connections to a number of European destinations.
If you're planning on bringing your own vehicle, there are also ferry services from England, Scotland and France. Another option is flying into Belfast or Derry. Just keep in mind that Northern Ireland is part of the UK, so depending on your nationality, you may need a UK visa rather than an Irish one.
Speaking of that division, many first-time travellers to Ireland don't actually realise how seamless the cross between the Republic and the North actually is.
Even though you're technically entering another country, there are no borders, no checkpoints and no passport control.
The main things you'll notice are that the currency changes from euros to pounds, road signs switch from kilometers to miles, and it's worth checking your mobile plan before you travel.
Other than that, you could easily cross the border without even noticing that there was a border there in the first place.
Now, when should you plan to visit Ireland?
A lot of people assume that the summertime would be the best time to visit Ireland, but in reality, the likes of July and August can be the busiest and even some of the wettest months of the year, believe it or not.
In our personal experience, the best time to visit and explore Ireland is May and September.
They're both shoulder season months, which means fewer crowds,
We are here on our own.
better value for money, and surprisingly often better weather. That said, this is Ireland, so the weather is never guaranteed. You could get sunshine, rain, wind, and blue skies all in the same day. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Not to bang on too much about the weather, but if you are planning a trip and you're planning on coming from late October until March-ish, you need to be realistic with the weather. And another thing that you need to consider is the fact that the daylight hours during those months are really not that long at all. You might get between 8 in the morning of daylight and 3:30, 4 o'clock. That's not really enough time if you're planning a good action-packed day.
By comparison, if you visit in April or May, you will have much longer days to explore, as it can stay bright until 9 or even 10 p.m., giving you plenty of extra time for scenic drives, coastal walks, and sunset views. And while there is never any guarantee, you are also more likely to get those beautiful blue sky days and calm sea conditions that everyone hopes for when visiting Ireland.
So yes, we do get a lot of rain in Ireland, which contributes to how beautiful and lush and green the country is, but it doesn't rain all day every day. It might rain at some point during the day, but go with the flow. Don't just think, oh, it's raining now, and cancel your plans. Go with the flow and you might get lucky. We often get lucky.
We do, yeah.
That said, it's a good idea to plan a few indoor activities as a backup, such as visiting a whiskey distillery for a tour or exploring a castle in case the weather turns bad. Ireland has a mild oceanic climate, which means temperatures are generally quite moderate year-round. Summers are rarely extremely hot, and winters are usually much milder than in many parts of Europe and North America. So what should you pack?
We would recommend pack your suitcases with shorts and summer dresses. Even in the warmest days, it could be quite chilly in the evening, especially at the coast.
The key to what you should pack if you're planning a trip to Ireland is just think layers. T-shirts, long sleeve tops, light jumpers, windbreakers, a good coat, to be fair. Do bring a good coat no matter what time of the year you're coming. That way you can easily just adapt to whatever a particular day's weather throws at you, and you can still go have a good time no matter what.
What I've noticed in Ireland, Irish people rarely own an umbrella. Instead, they wear waterproof jackets.
Too windy.
Because,
It's too windy for an umbrella.
well, I do own an umbrella, and sometimes it's not windy and it's quite handy, especially if it's a small umbrella. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend bringing a long umbrella because it's just gonna be useless most of the time.
You turn into a meme.
And do not forget your swimwear. Even though Ireland is the most famous tropical destination, some of the beaches here, the turquoise water is just so inviting. And maybe after sauna you will think, yes, I might take a dip in the freezing Atlantic Ocean.
If you're planning on doing any outdoor activities, which you absolutely should, we'd also recommend bringing proper hiking boots or waterproof walking shoes rather than fancy trainers. Many of Ireland's coastal trails and countryside walks can be muddy, boggy and slippery even after just a wee bit of rain. Next topic we want to talk about is how to get around. And public transport in Ireland, how do I say this nicely? It is inadequate.
It's quite good in big cities, in the likes of Dublin, you can get from place to place.
Fair enough.
But I'm a person who takes buses here in rural Ireland from town Letterkenny. We live in countryside, and there are 3 buses that go our direction a day. Sometimes they're late, sometimes they're too crowded, and then they can't take you on the bus. So if you want to explore the real Ireland, the authentic places we talk about in our videos, the real Wild Atlantic Way, you might take a bus, but then you will have to still find a bicycle or something to get around. That's why we do recommend you to rent a car.
A car definitely gives you freedom to explore, and you will end up seeing a lot more in a single day if you rent a car or a camper van. However, driving in Ireland can be a little bit intimidating as we drive on the left-hand side of the road and country roads are often very narrow.
If you're coming here and you don't think you'll be completely comfortable driving on our rural Irish country roads, maybe planning in advance and requesting a small automatic car would be better than ending up with something big and bulky. It does make a difference. Before hitting the road here, it is maybe worth refreshing your knowledge of roundabouts. If you happen to be coming from a country that doesn't have that many roundabouts, Ireland is full of roundabouts, so you need to know how to use them from driving on the left-hand side of the road. So that is important. Also, if you're going to be traveling along the Wild Atlantic Way, chances are you're going to want to be driving on some narrow country roads. Don't be scared by them. Take your time. And if there's no room for 2 cars to pass, the done thing is just to pull in to a wee lay-by, let the car past, give a wee wave, say thanks if they do it for you, and just drive on. Don't panic if you're in a road that it seems as if both cars can't pass. There'll always be a way.
You'll be surprised. Massive buses and tractors and all. Yeah.
My sister has a theory that Irish country roads are like magic, where they just widen to let you pass.
The reason we love traveling in Ireland so much is for these authentic, untouched places where you find absolutely jaw-dropping landscapes. And unfortunately, it is quite impossible to get there without cars. So overall, renting a car is definitely worth it.
A car also gives you a bit more freedom to save money on accommodation. Accommodation is going to be one of the biggest costs here, but you can find more affordable Airbnbs outside of the main towns, which might cost around €80 instead of 150. Hotels will usually be even more expensive.
If you want to save your money, which obviously you do, it's better to book in advance.
Obviously you will find accommodation to stay, it's just maybe the cheaper options will be gone by then and you will end up in a very expensive hotel or maybe Airbnb that you don't really like.
Some people also rent camper vans, but they're obviously more expensive to hire, and you'll also need to travel a bit slower in a larger vehicle.
We would recommend you an app called Park for Night. We used ourselves, where you can find a place to park overnight. While camping isn't illegal in Ireland unless there's a sign that says no overnight parking, but the main rule is leave no trace.
If you're camping, clean up after yourself. If you do plan on staying in campsites, which is a good idea to be honest, it'll cost you between 20 and €40-ish per night, depending on the campsite obviously. And with that, you'll get access to water, electricity and showers. So I think that's great value and a great option if you do have a camper van.
We touched on prices earlier, but you definitely need to be prepared that Ireland is expensive.
Fortunately, most of the natural attractions are completely free with a few exceptions, and as we mentioned, accommodation will usually be the biggest cost. Expect to pay around 25 to 30 euros each in restaurants and 18 to 20 for pub food. Breakfast or lunch in cafes is usually around 10 to 15 euros and even more expensive in Dublin.
If you're eating out for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, pints every day, it can add up, trust us.
So that's why it's a good idea to maybe find an Airbnb with its own kitchen where you can cook some breakfast or maybe get delis for lunch or maybe some snacks in big supermarkets, like ready-made meals and stuff like that.
That said, definitely try Irish food while you're here. It's simple but delicious. Think Irish stew or fish and chips. And if you don't mind splurging on a fancy restaurant, Irish steaks will ruin steaks for you everywhere else. And honestly, what a better place to try fresh seafood than an island in the Atlantic Ocean.
English is the main language of Ireland, so whether we like it or not, it is very convenient. And even if you find yourself in areas called the Gaeltacht, that is native Irish speaking areas, they'll still speak English there, so don't worry. You'll be able to communicate in English everywhere on the island of Ireland.
That being said, Irish people do love their slang, and you might hear a few words that you don't understand the meaning of.
One of the most common words you'll hear, and you'll know this if you watched anything on Ireland, is the word crack. And if you hear the word crack, it just means someone's pretty much just asking you how you are or any fun or what's going on pretty much. So if you're going around the island of Ireland and you hear someone say, "What's the crack today?" Any crack, they just mean, "Hey, how's it going? How are you? What's up?" Another one you'll hear is the word grand, which if someone says it's grand, I'm grand, you're grand, it just means anything, really.
It means alright, good, but sometimes it means bad as well. Depends on the tone. So, for example,
Halfway through explaining that, I was like, I actually don't know. I don't know what a grand means.
so if you say, "Oh, it's a grand weather," it's actually not too bad. But if you say, "How was your dinner?" and you say, "It was grand," it means actually it wasn't really good.
Yeah, it might take a day or two or a month to get used to, but you will pick it up, and generally we mean well.
And another thing is that each county has its own accent, and it's actually interesting because you can identify where the person's from by their accent. And I find Kerry and Cork being the hardest to understand, and they're one of the most touristy places in Ireland. So
Do you remember the hotel in Killarney? A man came up to her and he goes, "Are you going on the Jaunting Kells? Did you go on the Jaunting Kells?" And I just knew by the blank silence that Asya hadn't a notion what he was saying. And she was just like, "Good, yeah, good. Hello,
Kerry
good."
is beautiful.
So the accent down south can be fairly thick.
Now let's talk a little bit about cultural etiquette, and I would say that Irish people do love their small talk. So it's expect to be asked like, "What's the crack? How are you? How was your day?" Sometimes even just on a walk or on a hike.
When ordering a drink in a pub, usually you will pay at the bar when you're ordering. In cafes and restaurants, or if you're getting bar food, it is quite common as well after your meal to go up to the bar to pay. That's becoming more common these days. And with regards to your bill, tipping is not really in Irish culture. I think with more Americans coming to the island, it's crept into society a wee bit because the Americans have kind of spoiled hospitality workers a wee bit, I think, but it's not really the done thing. If you got some really nice man or a woman serving you, then by all means leave them, you know, a 10% or a fiver or a tenner, but it's not really something that we rely on.
Of course, nobody is going to be offended if you tip them, so tip away.
No, tip away, yeah, no.
Speaking of ordering drinks, I would say coming to Ireland and not going to pubs is the same as going to Paris and not seeing the Eiffel Tower. Maybe a little bit too much of a comparison, but really it's just such a big part of a culture. And do remember, you don't have to drink alcohol there. Even if you don't drink at all, you should still go there. You don't go for drinks, you go for the atmosphere.
So, what should you drink in a pub if you're a big weirdo that doesn't like Guinness?
Well, first of all, Guinness here tastes different, so I would say you should definitely try it. And little tip, you don't have to order the full pint, you can actually order half a pint.
It's frowned upon though.
Last time in Claire, I ordered a full pint and she's like, good woman. And I'm like, yeah.
If we see you drinking a half pint of Guinness, we'll know you're American. I hope I'm not coming across mean here.
It's not frowned upon. Order your half a pint.
It's a wee bit frowned upon.
To try.
Just have a pint of Guinness.
You can try Irish ale, APA, and I personally love Irish cider, Rockshore on draft being my favorite. So you can always order Baileys on ice, whiskey, Irish gin, and also don't forget about Irish coffee.
A lot of places you'll go around Ireland, especially up and down the west coast, they'll have whiskey that has been distilled from an area close to them. So that's a nice idea. If you're a whiskey drinker, don't just stick to your Jameson or Bushmills. Have a try of whatever local whiskey you find in whatever bars, restaurants, pubs you get.
And prices usually range from 5 to 10 euro, cocktails being sometimes like 12 euro. But with that said, it gets cheaper if you leave Dublin. We do highly recommend you try pubs in the west of Ireland instead of trying it in Dublin.
Pints have definitely gotten dearer in Ireland over the past few years. Gone from just under 5 to just over 5, and now should be at least 5.86, and this is June of 2026. But I guarantee you, if this is 2027 when you're watching this, a pint will probably be more expensive.
Yeah, people probably watch what she's talking about, 5 euro. But it's only like, you know, those man pubs like in the middle of nowhere where there is only cash, no card kind of thing.
I only know 2 pubs where the pints are a £5. So the most common mistakes people make when they're traveling to Ireland for the first time.
I'm from Russia, and I would say the first mistake people do when they come to Ireland is they think that Ireland is small, which is not the case at all. And there are a few reasons for that. Number one is because some of the main roads, they go through towns and villages, and sometimes you have to slow down, and then the journey of 200 kilometers takes you over 4 hours.
And another reason we say Ireland is not small is because a lot of people come here and they think, oh, small country and the Wild Atlantic Way, and they think, oh, we'll just do the Wild Atlantic Way. The Wild Atlantic Way is one of the longest continuous coastal routes in the world, and if you're actually really doing the Wild Atlantic Way, getting to all the rugged, authentic, remote places that we would recommend you to go to, you're going to be in and out and in and out and in and out on rugged, rural Irish country roads that take ages to navigate through. So if you're coming for, let's say, a week, you're not going to do anywhere near the full Wild Atlantic Way. Even though you look at a map and you think, oh, Ireland is just a tiny wee island. We've been in the Wild Atlantic Way for years and we still haven't seen every nook and cranny along it. The beauty of it is that you can keep coming back time after time after time and find new places. You might hit the main points, you might see the Cliffs of Moher, you might see Downpatrick Head, you could do Dingle, Ring of Kerry. Those places, in our opinion, are not the true beauty of the Wild Atlantic Way, and that is why, as absurd a statement as it might seem by looking at a map and, oh, these guys, what are they talking about? Ireland's a small country. It is small, but it will take a long time to see the very best of it.
Mistake number 2 is not pre-booking things before coming to Ireland. You might miss out on the car you wanted to book, you might not get the accommodation you wanted.
Imagine staying here.
And most importantly, if you want to take boats to, for example, Inishmore on the Ireland Islands, you might just not get a ticket on the boat.
Skellig
Michael, like, we are locals, we cannot book it because it's just so busy and only 12 people on the boat allowed a day. Unfortunately, you do have to plan your trip properly and you do have to pre-book these things.
And the final mistake is only visiting Dublin. A general rule of thumb that most Irish people will tell you is to do your bits and bobs about Dublin, do your touristy things, and then get as far west as possible. In our opinion, the northwest is better, Donegal, Sligo, Mayo, Galway, even down that far. But just get yourself out of Dublin, because that honestly is not where the magic lies in Ireland.
We actually have loads of travel guides on this channel, so make sure to check them out after this video. And if this video helped, don't forget to leave a like, maybe a comment, and please subscribe to the channel.
We've been Mark and Asya, and we hope this video has made planning your first trip to Ireland a wee bit easier.